Hey guys, so today we're going to be looking at people who realized someone was a psychopath. So yeah, let's just get right into the video. My former spouse. She was charming, charismatic, beautiful, manipulative, a pathological liar, emotionally and financially abusive. I dropped her off at the hospital so she could take over watching her mum to give her aunt and uncle a reprieve. Aunt and uncle informed me mother-in-law was doing well. I drove home. She called me 20 minutes later to say her mum suddenly died. She smothered her mother to death. After our divorce, I met with her stepmom and sister-in-law to talk about things. Unsolicited, they said they believed she smothered her mum. I nodded my head in agreement. But nobody knew? Like, authorities thought the mother died in the hospital kind of thing? And she wasn't arrested kind of thing? So she killed her mum and passed it off like her mum just died. But how? Wouldn't they investigate? That is so scary. But like, does it even show in the autopsy if someone was smothered to death? Oh, wow. That's so messed up. I've worked with teenagers my entire career, and I'm fairly well versed in how mental illnesses can show up with middle and high school kids. We had one kid, let's call him Evan, not real name. I genuinely understand why kids are popular, but this kid befuddled me. He wasn't charismatic in the hallway. He wasn't a party kid. He wasn't athletic. He wasn't funny, and he certainly wasn't kind. This kid always had fanfare and would pick out one other male peer and essentially friend love bomb them. He builds these emotional bonds with them and then totally use it for his benefit. I've never heard about that. Love bombing a friend. Well, he would pick a teacher and mercilessly torment them. For example, for creative writing, he wrote about how a character in his story named Kevin had gone to a teacher's house that happened to have a dog like the teacher had, and he wrote graphically about how he tortured it. Not kill it, but tortured it. He changed details just enough to say he was mimicking Von Gut or something like that. When he got disciplined for it, he had the current favored male peer talk sense into the teacher. Yeah, this friend ended up getting suspended because that talking sense just was threats to protect Evan. When the friend came back from suspension, his mum asked everyone to try to keep him away from Evan. Evan got in no trouble because he didn't think this friend would get aggressive. Yes, he did. Wow, that's so scary. How do you plan all that at that kind of age? What? It was constant, and eventually he was placed in my class. He tried the old essay to scare the teacher thing again. He wrote about how a character not named Evan, but something mighty close, knew where a teacher that sounds like me lived and was planning on burning my house down with her entire family in it. The next day, I read out loud to the class and asked them to give feedback all together during class. He didn't like that at all, especially because the girls who knew nothing of this drama before were horrified and deemed him a creep that they didn't like. Good! He ended up moving the next year, and he's an adult now. Every now and then I googled his name because I truly don't know what a damaged person that operates that effectively can do. I'm just surprised that he's not in prison, honestly. That's pretty scary. He had all these thoughts when he was a kid. He would manipulate his friends for his own personal gain. He would write an essay to imply that he would be doing these things to the teacher to make her scared. At that age? I feel like something is going on at home too. Seriously, that's so odd. It's not even like a crazy story where he did something violent. It was more like he was writing about violent things, but he never acted out on it. So he was just threatening the teachers with his stories. Jeez. It took years for me to realize, but eventually saw that they never spoke a single word from their mouth that wasn't intended to manipulate and control others. Every single conversation and interaction was manufactured and not genuine. No genuine version of that person exists. They also took every opportunity to subtly put down people if they were threatened by them, made people, including me, doubt ourselves deeply. Also, everything they did to control and manipulate others had plausible deniability because they were so clever and careful about it. Everything was done in between the lines, so it was hard to prove. Eventually, those people almost always give themselves away though, in my opinion and experience. That's true. They eventually give themselves away because they can't keep the mask on forever. And honestly, if someone is like so perfect, so charismatic, that's a bit sus, right? If you see no flaws in them, it's a bit sus. I am technically still married to one, although we have been in contact for over 3 years. I can name 1,000 different things, but I will stick to one in the interest of time. One night, one of many similar nights, we argued and he assaulted me. Generally, this meant him biting me and choking me. I was at perhaps the lowest point in my life, brainwashed, gaslighted, torn down, so I got up the next morning and decided to make the best of it. I cooked all day and he stayed in the bedroom. I remember listening to music and just really being in a good mood. I made his favorite dinner and brought it to him in the bedroom. He was looking at his phone. I said, "I made your favorite dinner," and he looked at me and said, "You're so simple." That moment changed my life. It was a gift because I left the next day and never looked back. Good! The fact that she did something so sweet for him and he was like, "You're just basic." I would be pissed. But hold on a second. We're forgetting the important part was the fact that he bit her and choked her. And that wasn't even the breaking point yet. The breaking point was when she cooked him dinner and he was like, "You're so simple." That was when that was enough for her. Whoa. Wow, okay. I guess most of the times people leave because of the lack of emotional connection. Because admittedly, so many people stay because they still feel emotionally connected, so they start making more excuses. But I guess once you lose that, everything changes. You start to see things for how they really are. I told this story once before. I met a woman at a party who gave me this kind of chilling suspicion. She was sociable and easily commanded to attention of every small gathering she was in. She leaned on the rows of her job to keep the conversation about her. She was a nurse working in the maternity ward, and she went on about the hours and the pay and everything. To change the vibe, I asked her what she liked about her job and she lit up. But what she said didn't come down to her coworkers or helping people or making a difference. Her answer amounted to power. She absolutely glowed as she described how fragile new mothers are and how many subtle things could go wrong. She was proud to say how she knew when a mother wasn't going to make it through the night without complications, and how she was the only nurse on the floor to be the one that could help the mother. She loved how she was in control over a precious and delicate thing that could not be replaced. I remember feeling deeply uncomfortable by her answer and that smile of hers. I still remember that smile. Others around us at the time picked up on it too. Oh, no thank you. That's scary. Imagine giving birth and that's your midwife. She's proud that you're in pain. She's happy that you're gonna have complications because now she can be the one to save your life. So she's happy about that. She's not concerned about your life. She's happy that you need her to save you. Ew. But I also feel like we read this before, but I don't know which video it was. Or maybe there's just many people like this. Maybe there's just a couple of nurses that think the same way. I used to work for one. Every sincere, vulnerable moment was fabricated to prompt me to share my story, so he could collect information to use against me. He used to get upset that he was so open with me and I was like a brick wall. "Sir, I'm at work." He told me he used to live in London, his marriage open, and he was lining up dates on his business trips. How he used to be romantically involved with his last assistant when they would travel together. He would keep his parents on payroll to help them out, etc. None of it is true, except him having blatant affairs. He would name drop people of influence, saying so-and-so was an old friend, just compulsively lying to make himself seem important. He would fabricate dramatic situations that were my fault, so he could have an excuse to scream literally at me. Like wording a phrase just wrong enough that I would misstep. His eyes would go absolutely black. I started questioning when I met someone close to him in his personal life and was asking, oh, was that when he lived in the UK? I got coffee with his former assistant and she told me she had never traveled with him, let alone had an affair with him. It was all a lie. I screenshot him making really obscene sexual comments towards me on Slack. Still not sure what to do with it all. Obviously, I don't work for him anymore. To say I had PTSD would be dramatic, but the emotional whiplash of someone being manipulative and having power over you left me scarred in unexpected ways for a long time. Now I just see him as a tiny piece of shit. Wow, so he would just keep lying and lying and lying. Why? I don't get it. Why would he lie about an affair? Right? Why would he drag someone in to be like, I had an affair with her? Yeah, that's what we did. What? What? These kind of people are scary. Talked to a guy online who after 2 weeks of conversation told me sometimes that he wanted to kill someone just to see what it felt like in a random conversation. And told me that when he was younger he had a plan for killing a girl in his class he thought was annoying and that no one would miss. Why would he just tell people that? The fact that someone like this is out there is pretty scary. He had a plan. Well, thank goodness he didn't go through with it, right? Well, that's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Tell me in the comments down below what your thoughts are. And as always, thanks for watching. Hope you guys liked it. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!